on the boat for the architectural tour here in Chicago. I'm about to learn some history about these beautiful buildings. It's very beautiful here. I brought my jacket just in case, but I'm on the top deck, so I think I'm going to be super hot actually. But this should be a fun, nice adventure. Talk to you soon.
I should just take
250,000 glazed terracotta tiles. Sort of like a porcelain, but softer. Have to get hand washed. Now, our question on this smart tour quest, because you guys are from Tucson, our question, residence and hotel, and a pretty good example of one of the architectural styles that we're going to talk quite a bit about today, called contextualism. Look up here with me. See these three patio terraces? They're called setbacks. Well, it ends up they're not arbitrary heights because they are to flatter the context. Contextualism. Now, the architect of Trump Tower is one of Chicago's most famous and beloved architects, is a guy named Adrian Smith. Now, we call him the world's tallest architect. Comes in at the staggering height of 5 feet 7 inches. We call him that because he makes the tallest building in the world. Pie-shaped apartments, each with their lobed balconies. I got a buddy who lives up there. A little difficult to furnish a pie-shaped living room. Now, here's its story. In the early 1960s, practically nobody was living in the city center business district of downtown Chicago. And there was a Chicago architect named Bertrand Goldberg. He was kind of the social scientist of his generation. He wanted people to live in the city space. Really, a city within a city. This is all I know. It's an introvert's dream world. Live, work, and play in their pajamas. Perfect for COVID, I guess, for COVID. Over to the left, guys, is our Riverwalk. Now, this Riverwalk's just a few years old. Has been a game changer for Chicago's relationship to this river, bringing citizens down to the river as never before. In fact, you get citizens this close to the water, they get like a Greek temple up there. The name of the style, neoclassic. You take something classic like the Parthenon, remake it with new materials, clarifying key proportions, a classic 30-degree pitch of the roof up there. See that? This particular building, designed by the late Ricardo Bofill, polished Indiana limestone, precision repetitive patterns, and decorative metal on the outside of the building. These buildings were made for a different generation, the late 1920s. That's the roaring 20s, right? The jazz age. That was a time of prosperity, luxury, airplane travel, sophistication. They wanted an architecture that expressed an example of contextualism. The curve of that reflective glass building not only imitates the curve of the river, but it reflects and flatters the context. Contextualism. By the way, this one continues to be one of Chicago's favorite buildings because this is where Ferris Bueller's dad works, in that iconic Chicago documentary based on a true story. We're here at Wolf Point. We've come down the main branch of the river. We're going to turn now. We're going to go up the north branch, a little freezer building for the meatpacking business. Well, that business goes away in the 70s. In fact, they say it took about 3 months for this old building to thaw out. And as they cut through those 3-foot thick walls to make the balconies and windows, they discovered the walls had been stuffed with matted horsehair and cork. That's what they used as insulation prior to styrofoam. I checked, they don't sell that at Home Depot anymore. Horsehair and cork. Over to the right, the bridge. This is a 1908 landmark bridge. Can't tear it down. But it exposes how all these Chicago-style bridges work, okay? Think of a teeter-totter. That's how much of a concrete counterweight you need to balance this much steel. All these other bridges work on that same principle. To the left, you see the triangular shaped postmodern river cottages. Now, these are 4 residences. They kind of living like living in an attic. And when Harry Weiss made, I call it the iPhone building, sleek and cool on the outside, but packed with cutting-edge technology you can't see on the inside. As you look at this building, you're probably wondering, why is it built like a Y? And the answer is because it's trapped, it's pinched. Ta-da! Kind of cool. You got edutained, guys. Pretty cool. Over to the right, look at the irony. Guys, there was a fitness center and a bakery keeping each other in business forever. Carbs and cardio right there, complementing each other. Over to the left, this building was boring. Nobody talked about it till a few years ago. The new owner spent $800,000 to put themselves on the map and stick out a little bit. Literally, garden in a city, that's a different priority. He wants every Chicago citizen to be within walking distance to a park. You know, there are 614 parks in the city of Chicago. 9% of the land is park space. In fact,